Let's initialize a new npm package first. Review the package.json file. It's called CLI tools. It points to an index.js file, and there's a test script. Now let's go ahead and add support for a TypeScript package. Index.ts file. And here, let's add something called GT. Once this is added, go back to your package.json file, change this to start, and here type GT index ts. Once this is added, let's just try to run this script. npm run start. Nothing's there, right? Let's go ahead. Save this. Rerun this again. It's working. Change the type to module. Save this. Now GT is a package that adds support for runtime TypeScript, and the key feature that it supports are seamless TypeScript and ESM syntax support, seamless interoperability between ESM and CommonJS asynchronous API to replace require, slim and zero depths, right? So you can learn and know about GT by opening this particular package reference. For now, we should just know that this adds support for runtime TypeScript and ESM. Come back to your terminal and there install clack-core as a dependency. Clack-core is installed now as a dependency. Let's go ahead and explore its APIs available to create interfaces. Initialize the TypeScript settings. Go back to your code and there create a function called man. To run it, we'll just invoke the man, send it a promise, and the enable, we will just say when there's an error, just use console.error to error the message or to show the message, right? Now let's explore the clack-core APIs. Now clack-core contains low-level primitives for implementing command line applications. Currently, text prompt, select prompt, confirm prompt, as well as the base prompt class is supported. Now, prompts are our primary means to accept input from the users when we are building CLIs or command line interfaces. So let's just explore the text prompt, select prompt, and confirm prompt. Go ahead and copy this and just place it over here. Take the text prompt and place it over here. Let's save this and run the script again. What's your name? Let's type Aftab. It exited, right? Let's just print our name. Console log name. Save this. What's your name? Aftab. The name is available here, right? The way you render a prompt is you instantiate the class, right? Whether it's a text prompt or it's a select prompt or it's a confirm prompt. So here we are instantiating the text prompt class and we are saying render the text with a cursor value and then await for the prompt and check if the user pressed Ctrl+C or not. So anywhere in your CLI where you are accepting some values to be provided by the user, you should use the isCancel function to check whether the value was provided or the user just exited the process. We can also show some messaging over here like console log. Okay. Never mind. Let's just go ahead and call this just a text prompt or text input, and then change this to text input prompt. Save this, rerun this again. What's your name? Aftab. Aftab is there. What's your name? I pressed Control C. Okay, never mind. Right. Let's say we need to accept not one input but two text input fields. So for that, what we can do here is we can just duplicate this, place it over here, and then change this to say password input, and change this to password input, password, console log, name, password, right? So this block needs to be repeated for all the input that we need to accept from the user, right? So first there's one for the, say, username, and the second one is for the password. What's your password? Let's save this and rerun this again. npm run start. What's your name? Aftab. What's your password? Secret. Aftab and secret, right? But it's a password input, right? We cannot just accept input and show that input to the bare eyes, right? So what we can do now is we can rely on something like a password prompt. We can change this to password prompt, save it, rerun this again, npm run start. What's your name? It's Aftab. What's your password? Secret. Aftab secret, right? So that's how we deal with free-form text and password fields, right? clack-core also offers something for confirm prompts. If we need to show a confirm prompt, we can import confirm prompt from clack-core, and then we can just again in the same manner say confirm input equal to new confirm prompt, and there we can just initialize with the initial values. The initial values it takes are basically active, say true, inactive, false, and then again a render, and in the render you can show something like are you sure. Let's convert this to a string, since the active and the inactive options take only string values. And here just say const confirmed equal to await confirm input prompt. Save this, confirmed, save this, expand this a bit, clear this, and let's rerun the command. Aftab, password secret, are you sure? Yes. Rerun it again. Aftab, password secret, are you sure? False. So that's how confirm works. So not just for a text prompt or password prompt or a confirm prompt, there are two more sophisticated input control types available out of clack-core. They are select prompt and multi-select prompt, right? So you have something like select prompt available to you. You also have something like a multi-select prompt available to you. Let's just import the select prompt. So how do we initialize a select prompt? A select prompt's initialization follows a bit different pattern than a text prompt or a password prompt or even a confirm prompt. You can see that text prompt initialization is very simple. It's just a text. Similarly, password prompt is just a text. It got a bit more sophisticated for confirm prompt because we need to provide the active option and inactive option, right? Select prompts configuration is a bit more involved than even confirm prompt. So how do we provide a select prompt? For select prompt, we first need to provide an options. The options will have an object with one mandatory key called value. The value is the value that you would expect to receive. And then there would be something like a label. Label is for your programmatic use to render the labels in the CLI, right? Once you have the options initialized, you'll again have a render function. In the render function, you can rely on something called state, which the clack-core library internally maintains to keep a track of what you have selected as an option, right? And for the switch case, you can have something like a default view. There are other options also, but the default view that's presented to the user is controlled by the default option, right? So here we are just looping over the options object, and with the options object, we are just rendering a list for the CLI, right? And then again, we are just asking for the prompt, and then we are showing the prompt to the user, right? So let's call this selected. And then we can have selected available over here. Let's rerun the file again. What's your password? Secret. Are you sure? Yes. And then the options, right? 1 or 2. As soon as we confirm for are you sure, it popped the options, right? 1 or 2. Let's just hit enter. Aftab secret true 1. So the first option got selected for us. Now let's just rerun the file again. Say Aftab Alam. Are you sure? No. Again, I'm prompted for the options, right? So I am doing an option change here. In the down arrow key over here once and then hitting enter. And now it's selected 2 for us, right? So as you are able to see, we are able to create a basic CLI interface with the text prompt, password prompt, confirm prompt, and the select prompt. But as soon as we started involving a bit more sophisticated prompt controls, the configuration started to be a bit more involved, right? With confirm prompt, there were 2 options. With the select prompt, there are now more options, right? Even with those options, we cannot give proper visual cues to the user around their selections UX. Though this gives you options like active, cancel, error, initial, and submit. Active is switched when a selection is active. Cancel is switched when a selection is cancelled. Error is for error scenario, and initial is for initial selection of an option out of the options. Then you have a submit also. But working with these states will require you to write a lot of code like this, like looping over, using a coloring library, then rendering the different states based on the selection, kind of dimming something, highlighting something, underlining something and stuff. So this stuff starts getting a bit more involved. And to solve for that, there's another library that's built on top of core, which is called prompt. So if we come back to the repo, clack-core is just unstyled extensible primitives for CLIs. If you need more beautiful, more managed sort of UIs, you need to rely on clack-prompts, which provides beautiful and ready-to-use CLI prompt components. Let's just add this library and start building our UIs with clack-prompts instead of the core primitives.
So let's give our little CLI app a visual overhaul with clack-prompts. Clack-prompt serves 2 purposes. First, it visually uplifts your prompts, and second, it simplifies the configuration of your prompts. So instead of doing something like, say, this, like providing options over here and then writing a lot of code to kind of show options, show the visual hints, show some animation and stuff, you basically start relying upon the prompts available out of clack-prompts instead of the clack-core to visually uplift your terminal UI, as well as to help you write less configuration to use those prompts. So let's go ahead and start using clack-prompts.
Install clack-prompts as a dependency to your project. While this is installing, let's just review its API. Basics. First of all, it ships with one intro function and one outro function. Intro is something you'll use when your application is entering, and outro is something you'll use when your application is done doing its job and you can release the control to the user. There's something called cancellation, right? So we already used is cancel, but here they have added something called cancel function also to kind of log output to the standard terminal. So talking about the components, you have the text component, you have the confirm component, you have a select component, and the select component looks a lot simpler than the select component we were managing, and that too in a bit half-baked form. And then there's a multi-select which looks just like select, and there's a spinner component too to show a progress indicator, right? So let's go ahead and first use the text component that's available out of the clack-prompt library. Import text from clack-prompts, and here instead of writing text prompt, change this to text, and then let's just copy this object and place it over here. Let's just change this to the previous prompt. What is your name? Placeholder not sure, let it be that. John Doe. There's a validate function also if you just wanna validate the value that's provided by the user, right? So we can have a check like value length equal to 0, return value is required, right? So we can leave it to it, and here we can just remove this. We can just put the name over here, put a await here, start your CLI. What is your name? John Doe. We will just provide a new value over here, Aftab Alam. Our text input is better style now, right? With a dot and something like a something like a widget control. What's your password? The same form. No problem. Similarly, we can go ahead and change the next one also. Let's also change this to cancel. Import cancel. And here instead of using the console log, we'll say cancel. Let's remove this initial value in case of a user. Save this. Rerun our CLI app. What is your name? Aftab Alam. What's your password? Anything? Are you sure? Yes, yes. So there's nothing for password yet, so we'll have to rely on the construct available out of the clack-core library. Let's just kind of comment out the password input for now. For confirm prompt, we can import the confirm construct out of clack-prompt, and here instead of relying on this, we can just say confirmed and use the confirm prompt over here. To use the confirm prompt, we just need a message. Do you want to continue? Let's just change this. Are you sure? Remove this. Remove new. Save this, rerun our CLI. Or what is your name? After Alam. Are you sure? Yes, no, no, yes, yeah, yes. Promise true. We didn't await it. So never miss doing this, right? These are all promises. Aftab, are you sure? Yes, no, no, yes. So let's do it a yes. Yep, so it's working all fine for us now. Now we need to overhaul the select prompt. Import the select prompt. And here, let's change this with await select, and options will remain like that. We need to add a message. Say pick an option. Remove the render function entirely. Change this to selected. There's the error with the value. Type number is not assignable to type string. Since we are outputting to the CLI, we need to convert this to the string form. This also to the string form. This also to the string form. Save this and let's rerun our little CLI app. After yes, pick an option 1, 2. Let's say it's true. Yep, we got all of the values, right? Similarly, you can use a multi-select also. Like you can duplicate this, selected M, and here you can just, instead of using select, you can use the multi-select. Multi-select, selected M. Let's run our CLI app. Yes, yes. Now it's a checkbox, right? Press a spacebar, hit enter. After true, 1, 1, and 2. So we're getting all the inputs now, right? The beauty of clack-prompt is it's not just providing you the prompt inputs only. You can also have something like an intro and an outro, right? So let's just import an intro and an outro. And here, just before starting our program, we can say welcome to Lil CLI. And just when we are exiting it, we can say outro. URL set. Save this. Let's expand this a bit. Rerun our program. Yes, yes. One option, yes. And here we are seeing the outro, right? And it started with a intro, right? Besides these two constructs, you also have something called a spinner. Especially when you are doing an asynchronous operation like calling an API, you'd use something like a spinner to indicate that there's an operation in progress. So how do we use a spinner? For a spinner, what would be required to do is we can say something like const s is equal to spinner, and then we can do s dot start do your stuff. Do your CLI thing, and then you can say s stop universe downloaded successfully, right? Save this, clear this, rerun our CLI again. Aftab, yes, yes, yes. Okay, 1, enter. So the spinner moved too fast, right? What we can do here is we can say put a set timeout over here for probably 500 milliseconds. Let's just add a set timeout over here. Now to make the spinner actually look like a spinner, we'll have to move the stop function inside the timeout handler. Save this, go ahead and rerun. What's your name? It's the same one. Yes. Pick an option 1. Now we are seeing the spinner. It's done now. Let's move this over here. You are all set. You also have something like a note, which basically supports a multi-line description, right? So you can actually add a note over here, message title, right? So the message could be lorem. So the message could be lorem ipsum description ipsum, and then the title could be help. Save this, rerun our little CLI app again, exit, clear, start, yes, 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 and there we have the help and the description, right, added as a note. And finally you are all set. Now let's rerun our CLI app again. What is your name? Yes, yes, yes. So now there's a proper start to our CLI app, a proper finish to our CLI app, a proper help note and description, with a way to completely show the journey of your questionnaire. And this is a really interesting take on a CLI, since this promotes something called a conversational UI for your CLI app. You can show questions, you can show an outline form to all of the questions you have asked and all of the answers given to your prompts, right? And eventually you can show a note, right? So it's like a complete story there. Now go ahead and build something useful with this little useless stuff we have built over here. But an interesting idea we have, got introduced to. See you in my next video. Bye-bye.